So I just got a new package in the mail from This Is Noise. This is allegedly the world's smallest MIDI controller. So let's do a little unboxing and look at what this MIDI controller is and what it can do. And then we're gonna try and make some music with it. So the Noise Machine by This Is Noise is an incredibly tiny MIDI controller. It has Bluetooth compatibility, so you can easily use it with any Bluetooth compatible device. It has 12 pad trigger buttons, one assignable knob, and a fader for bank selection. And the most astonishing feature is, of course, the ridiculously tiny size. Now this is probably the most portable MIDI device ever made. Now that I've unboxed it, I'm going to hook this little device up to my phone and I'm going to use the Koala sampler. And then I'm going to walk around the house and find various objects that I'm going to sample. So I'm going to use my daughter's tiny toy piano. I'm going to use this tiny crystal glass that sounds really nice. I'm going to sample this Seinfeld Lego set. I'm going to sample this espresso cup, which is just a tiny coffee cup. And finally, I'm going to sample this dog toy that's for a tiny dog. So now I've processed the samples a little bit and added them into the Koala samplers. So here in bank A, I have the percussion sounds. So I have the Lego sounds here. This is the espresso cup. And then I have the squeaky toy right here. Bank B, I have the piano, toy piano chords that I have added a little bit of reverb and delay to. And the samples below consist of the crystal glass, where I've resampled a little chord sequence. And on the last bank, I have the crystal glass, but as a single note. Here I've taken the crystal glass note and just repitched each sample, copied it and repitched them. And the reason for that is because the chromatic mode is a little bit weird with the Noise Machine, because normally with pad devices like this, like for example a Senedo Tempo pad, the Novation Launch pad, or the Ableton Push 2, you start with the lower pitch on the lower pads. But here the top left pad is the lowest pad. So you can see here, the pitch goes higher as you move lower. That makes it a little bit awkward, especially if you're used to using pads. So for me, it was just easier to use only the pitches I needed and then add them to the pads like this. I'm not going to go very much in depth with the Koala sampler because I will make a video about the Koala sampler later. So you should definitely subscribe for that. So I think it's time to make some music. So let's just start by laying down a beat. So I need the metronome on. So there you can see, just by using this tiny little thing, I could make a little performance. So obviously it requires a little bit of mapping, but it does work very well. And it's pretty easy to map MIDI in most apps. And you can't really beat the size of this thing. Now there are a couple of things I would have liked to see. One of them is obviously to have the layout reversed so that you have the lower notes on the bottom row. Secondly, it would be nice to have some sort of software that you can customize things in this, because as it is now, it seems like there's no software or any form of customizing it or performing firmware updates or anything like that. But that's okay, because this is a little bit of a gimmicky device. It's very cool, and it's a device I think I will use in the future as well, but it will not be my main MIDI device for obvious reasons. One thing a lot of people also seem to have an issue with is the size of the buttons. I think it works fairly well with using your thumbs, but doing more advanced things with your fingers and finger drumming might be complicated. So what do you think about this little noise machine? Is it just a gimmick, just a toy, or is it actually useful? Well, I kind of like it. I think it's fun and it has no latency and it's very portable. But of course, the tiny size makes it very hard to do things like finger drumming, and there are definitely devices that are much better suited for that. And if you're interested in MIDI pad devices that are great for finger drumming, you should definitely check out this video right here, where I talk about the Cinito Tempo Pad.